Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Leesburg Planning and Zoning Commission. It is June 20, or I did that last time. August 22nd, 2024. Please stand for the pledge of the flag and invocation, or invocation to the pledge.
Dear Lord, we ask that you be with us today as we undertake the business of the City of Leesburg. We pray that the decisions made today will be pleasing in your sight. We pray this in thy most holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Always takes me a minute to warm up.
Doing fine, Tim.
All right. You want to go ahead and
Minutes.
swear in the,
Oh, yeah.
I like to do that first so everybody's covered. Swearing in.
I'll get everybody sworn in short.
All right. Any city staff and anybody else present today who wishes to provide any testimony or information, if you would please stand and raise your right hand so we can get everybody sworn in.
You need to do this if you want to speak.
It looks like we got the whole room.
Yeah.
So. All right. Do you swear or affirm that all testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. All right. You want to do your...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 22, 2024 City of Leesburg Planning Commission meeting. My name is Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Leesburg. Staff present today includes Deputy Director Candy Harper, Senior Planners Christine Rock and Diane Yeckel, and Planner Melissa Metters. City Attorney Grant Watson is present as well. Today's agenda and a speaker's registry is available on the table by the exit door. If you would like to speak on a case, we ask that you would please sign this speaker's registry and turn it in to Candy, who is seated on my left. Under the rules of participation, the meeting will be conducted under the following process. The chairman will announce each case. The staff will then present exhibits for the record, including maps, photos, and text as shown on the screens. Staff will then read a recommendation into the record, and the applicant will have an opportunity to speak on the case. The chairman will allow time for public comment, and the applicant will have an opportunity for rebuttal. At that point, the chairman will close the case to the public, the commission will discuss the case, and the commission will take a vote on the case and then move on to the next case. The Planning Commission is a citizen board which is appointed by the city commissioners. This commission is charged with two major responsibilities. One is final decisions on cases such as variances and conditional use permits. The second, which takes up all of today's cases, are recommendations for issues to be heard by the City Commission. There are 7 cases on today's agenda. 2 of those, we have a request for a postponement till next month. All of these cases will be heard by the City Commission, so today is simply recommendations. You will find tentative dates for the City Commission hearings, which are listed in bold on the agenda. Please be advised that these dates of City Commission hearings are subject to be changed, so please check with our office at Planning and Zoning or the City Clerk's office regarding any final hearing dates. Finally, on behalf of the planning staff and the Leesburg Planning Commission, we'd like to thank you for your participation in today's public hearing process. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay. Commission, you've had an opportunity to see the minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the July 18th minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Not voting, I wasn't here.
Okay, thank you. All opposed? Great, thank you very much. All right, well, we'll move on to the first new business on public hearing case number SSCP 216 Blue Ridge Storage, small-scale comprehensive plan map amendment. And I'm going to go ahead and read the other one into it. We'll do these together because all the evidence is the same as these first two cases. It'll be the same as the next case too. Public hearing case number PUD 24-217 Blue Ridge Storage Plan Unit Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the overall proposal for this case is to annex, comprehensive plan, and rezone 10.02 plus or minus acres to be used for mini warehouse and storage uses. The property is generally located on the west side of US Highway 27 and just north of El Presidente Boulevard near the Spanish Village neighborhood on South 27. Under the first case, this is a small-scale comprehensive plan map amendment, and the request is to change the future land use designation from Lake County Urban Low Density to City of Leesburg General Commercial. And on the second case, which is the rezoning of the property, the request is to amend the current zoning from Lake County PUD, which is Plan Unit Development, to City of Leesburg Plan Unit Development. Christine Rock, Senior Planner with the office, will present the maps and photo exhibits, including the aerial zoning, future and surrounding land use, wetlands, flood zone maps, and CRA maps.
Thank you. All right. This map shows the general location of the property. It is located north of the Spanish Village neighborhood and on the west side of US Highway 27. This shows the more immediate area surrounding the subject property. So it's just a zoom in of some of the smaller streets. The property is currently located within unincorporated Lake County, so there is no City of Leesburg zoning right now, but it is south and west of Leesburg PUD. So the property is currently zoned Lake County PUD and is adjacent to Lake County PUD, as well as RMRP zoning, is across the street from Lake County RMRP and agriculture zoning. The proposed zoning is City of Leesburg Plan Unit Development. So the property is not in Leesburg, so there is no Leesburg future land use category on it, but it is south of Leesburg General Commercial and north of Leesburg Estate Residential. So it is currently zoned, it currently has a Lake County future land use of urban low density, which is also to the north, south, and west, and to the east is Lake County rural transition future land use. The proposed future land use is general commercial. There is flood zone located on the western portion of the property. There are also wetlands located on the western side of the property. It is not currently within a Leesburg City Commission district because it is in Lake County, but it is in close proximity to Commission District number 3. So we did post this property. So this is a close-up of the sign. The second photo is looking into the property from US Highway 27. And these two photos are looking north and south along US Highway 27. This is looking across US Highway 27. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Christine. And Mr. Chairman, I failed to mention that there is a special event happening this weekend. So we're going to be hearing their warm-up all through this meeting.
I was going to tell them we're doing a special new thing. We're going to have background music.
Okay.
Emphasis.
Moving on to the departmental review summary, the project was sent out to all city departments plus Lake County government and the school board. The city department responses were minimal. The electric department noted that it is outside of the City of Leesburg electric service area. Otherwise, we did not receive any comments from the city departments. When that happens, as we've stated before, that is an indication that each of the departments is stating that they have the capacity to serve the proposal. Of course, the school board, because it's a commercial project, has no interest or concern in it. And Lake County Public Works had no comments. Under the public responses, per the Florida statute and City of Leesburg Code of Ordinances, notice requirements, the project was legally advertised, posted, and letters were sent out to the surrounding property owners. We did not receive any letters or comments back as of today in regard to that. As Christine stated earlier, this is a planned unit development. Under the requirements of that PUD zoning, the permitted uses are indoor self-storage and outdoor self-storage, plus one apartment for management/security use. We're not governed by this PUD. It's going to use the C3 highway commercial zoning district requirements, which is pretty standard along a highway, obviously highway commercial. In the PUD, they're required to have the dark sky lighting, which, as we've described, is focusing the light so it's not interrupting the neighbors. It's shielding the light. There are significant setbacks required. The way the site plan was designed, they were able to have front setbacks and rear setbacks of 50 feet minimum, plus 20 feet on the sides, which they easily accomplished, as you can see in the site plan. 35% of the property has to be an open space. There's a landscape buffer and fence requirement adjacent to property zone residential. There's I believe it's a 3-floor maximum on the height. There are architectural standards required, and if you look at Exhibit D in your packet, you'll see that this proposal does meet the architectural standards. Site access is shown on the site plan, which is on US 27. Under roadway improvements, Lake County did not indicate that any road improvements would be necessary for this project. So it should be the standard XL, decel lane, and that's probably it. Other planned unit development requirements include using the drought-tolerant grasses that we're requiring, and that'll soon be in the code, of Bahia and Bermuda and Zoysia versus using St. Augustine. And of course, any development here has to be on city water and wastewater, so there's no well or septic systems on the property. I'd like to go ahead and read the recommendations here for the comp plan. Project Blue Ridge Storage, small-scale comp plan amendment from Lake County urban low density to city general commercial for SSCP, the case number SSCP 24216. The Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of the request for the following reasons. One, the project meets the requirements of Chapter 163.3187 Florida statutes for small-scale comp plan amendments. Two, the proposed future land use designation of general commercial is compatible with the adjacent future land use designations of Lake County urban low and rural transition and City of Leesburg estate residential. And three, the proposed request is compatible with the proposed zoning of PUD, planned unit development for self-storage facilities, indoor and outdoor storage. And four, the proposed future land use designation for the site is consistent with the city's growth management plan, future land use element goal 1, objective 1.6. The action requested is vote to approve the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment from Lake County urban low density and City of Leesburg general from Lake County urban low density to City of Leesburg general commercial, and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. Under the zoning recommendation for the planned unit development from Lake County PUD to City of Leesburg PUD, under case number PUD 24-217, the Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of the request for the following reasons. One, the proposed request for a PUD zoning is compatible with the current surrounding zoning districts, including the Lake County PUD, RMRP, which is Mobile Home Rental Park, and City of Leesburg PUD. The proposed request for the future land use designation of general commercial is compatible with the proposed zoning of PUD. And three, the proposed request as conditioned does not appear to create a detriment to the surrounding properties based on the location proximity to compatible development and indoor industrial uses. The action requested is vote to approve the proposed rezoning from Lake County PUD to City of Leesburg PUD and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for consideration. Mr. Chairman, prior to closing off, we did have some conversations back and forth with the attorney, Mr. J.B. Bricklemeyer, who is here tonight, who had some two minor requests on the PUD, which staff agreed with and wanted to present to the commission. Under Section 4 development standards, the maximum height in this PUD is 3 stories or 35 feet. The applicant wanted to have clarified that this would allow for the parapets in the design, and those parapets are going to be part of covering up the AC equipment and, a visual buffer to that equipment. So staff wanted to state on the record that this would be acceptable to us from a height standpoint, and we could either state it on the record or increase the height to allow the parapets. Doesn't matter to staff either way, which would visually help cover the AC units, the elevator shaft, those kind of things, which we were not taking into account when we wrote the recommendation. So that's the first one. The second one is under Section 9, open space. There's a request to allow the fencing, which currently exists on the property, to be chain link, as there are significant spatial buffers of somewhere around 250 feet to the residential areas and to the roadway to the south. And staff had no objection to that because there's a wetland in between there and the residential and some trees. Those two changes were, and unless there was anything else that was requested, those two changes we had agreed on after looking at it. And beyond that, Mr. J.B. Brookelmeyer is the attorney here to represent the case. He's out of Winter Garden. And, Mr. Chairman, staff is recommending approval for both these cases. Thank you.
Any questions of staff before we continue? Okay. Nothing? He covered okay?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman, unless you have questions.
Any questions of Mr. Brookmeyer? No. Okay. Is there anybody from the audience that's here to speak for or against? All right. We'll close to the public and render a decision. Discussion. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, on public hearing case SSCP 24216, Blue Ridge Storage Small Scale Comp Plan and Map Amendment, I recommend approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call. Roll call.
That's you. Is Candy here?
That was worth coming for.
Too busy taking minutes.
Absolutely.
Chairman Senna.
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan. Yes. Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Barasottis.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on the public hearing case number PUD 24-217 Blue Ridge Storage Plan Unit Development. I think the route we ought to go is limit the building to 3 stories, but to allow
For the
other-
parapet?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's like having living space and non-living space.
Yes, sir.
So if whoever makes the motions in agreement with that, don't forget to add that.
So it would remain at 35 feet with an allowance for the parapets?
Yep.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Mr. Chairman, on public hearing case PUD 24217, with the 35-foot maximum with allowing of the parapet
Fence.
and
And the fence.
the fence. Oh, yes.
Is it allowing the existing chain link?
Allowing
It's
the
already there.
existing chain link.
Thank you, I forgot that one.
With those amendments, I recommend approval.
I second the motion.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Barasottis.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Chairman Senna.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Okay, under new business number 3, public hearing case number SSCP 24-221, Blunt Birchmeyer Leesburg LLC, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment. They have asked to postpone to September 19th. If that is the will of the commission, I'll accept a motion to do so.
I'll motion for that to be moved to the September 19th.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify that will occur at 4:30 p.m. in commission chambers here on that date as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason for the withdrawal?
I don't know.
Guess it doesn't matter.
Nope, not me. Any discussion?
Do we need to state a reason why it's being postponed?
Thank you. I'm sleeping like candy, I guess. She's going to hit me. Staff reviewed the two cases, and we are meeting with the applicant. Upon our review of their proposed site plan, there were a number of items that we thought should be revised and upgraded before it was presented to you. So, and that is the reason it's being held. It's at staff's request, not the applicant.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Roll call, I guess.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowersox.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Chairman Senate.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Kaplan.
All right, new business number 4, public hearing case number PUD 24222, Blunt Birchmeyer, Leesburg LLC, Plan Unit Development. Same thing, it's the sister case of the last one. Do I have a motion to postpone to the 19th
Yes, I make that motion
of September? Thank you.
at 4:30
Thank you. You listen
in
well.
the
You listen
commission
well.
chambers with
It's-
bells on.
Is there a second?
That's good.
All right, it's been second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowersox.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Chairman Senate.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, new business number 5, public hearing case number LSCP 24233, Lake Bright Brighurst, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This, under the overall proposal.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce the other one, too.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, sir.
Well, I almost let you go. Okay, the next case goes with it, so I'll open it to, introduce it, excuse me. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Purpose of this, isn't it?
One have one on the computer.
All right, public hearing case number PUD 24234, Lake Bright Brighurst Plan Unit Development. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The overall proposal for this project, this is an annexation, large-scale comp plan, and rezoning on 208 plus or minus acres on South County Road 33 to allow for future development of new neighborhoods, which would consist of 518 detached single-family units. The property is generally located as seen on the aerial on the east and west sides of County Road 33 and north of Bridges Road. On the first case, which is a large-scale comprehensive plan map amendment, the request is to change the future land use designation from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate. On the second case, the rezoning, the request is to amend the current zoning from Lake County A Agriculture to City of Leesburg PUD Planned Unit Development. Ms. Diane Yeckel, Senior Planner, will present the maps and photo exhibits, including the aerial zoning, future land use, surrounding land use, wetlands, flood zone maps, and CRA maps.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. The subject property is located north of Austin Merritt Road and to the east and west of County Road 33. And a closer aerial shows the immediate area surrounding the property. The property is located in the Leesburg ISBA. And the property is currently unincorporated in Lake County. The subject property is zoned Lake County Agriculture and is adjacent to agriculture on all four sides. The proposed zoning is planned unit development. And the property is once again in unincorporated in Lake County. The property has a Lake County future land use of rural and is adjacent to rural future land use on all four sides. The proposed future land use is estate residential. And for the surrounding land use, to the north and south, we have residential and pasture. To the east, we have government, pasture, and non-agricultural acreage. And to the west, we have residential and non-agricultural acreage. And for the flood zone, there is some flood zone in the central part of the property on the west side of 33. And wetlands are also present in the central part of the property on the west side of 33. And the subject property is close to Commission District 3. And there were 3 signs posted. The top photo shows a close-up of the sign on the property from County Road 33. And the bottom is looking north along 33. Then we have looking east onto the property from County Road 33 and looking south along County Road 33. We have looking west along Desert Lane from County Road 33.
Try to speak up if you can.
And a close-up of the sign on the property from County Road 33. Looking north along County Road 33. And looking east from the property across County Road 33. Looking south along County Road 33. And the bottom picture is looking west into the subject property from County Road 33. The top photo is a close-up of the sign on the property from Lake Bright Street. And the bottom photo is looking north across Lake Bright Street. And the top photo is looking east along Lake Bright Street. And the bottom photo is looking south into the subject property from Lake Bright Street. And the final photo is looking west along Lake Bright Street. And that is all I have, Mr. Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Moving to the departmental review summary, the project was sent out to all city departments plus Lake County government and school board. Under city responses, the electric department again noted that it was outside of their service area, electric service area. Otherwise, we received no specific comments from the departments. The school board will note that the project will be subject to school concurrency review, and that means that there would have to be a mitigation agreement between the developer and the school board, which amounts to essentially a cash payment to the school board to create the student stations, adequate student stations within the school system. And the number of students in the system changes and goes up and down every year. So but once a mitigation agreement is locked in, then that payment is locked in and is paid by phase in the plat if all this comes to fruition. Lake County, continue under the department reviews, Lake County Public Works provided a significant number of comments here that I wanted to go over with you. In summary, those comments and requirements are adding turn lanes on County Road 33 at all access points, including left turn lanes for entry and decel lanes for exiting onto Highway 33. They will require additional right-of-way along County Road 33. Then they want an area for a trail to be developed along the County Road 33 road frontage. A full traffic impact analysis is required. That's underway. That's required by the city, but I wanted to note that the county also wants to see that. There's interconnectivity for pedestrians and bicyclists within the design of the subdivision. And then in regard to stormwater management, the county noted that they also wanted to look at the stormwater management plan to protect the roadways and adjacent properties. The city will look at the same thing, as well as St. Johns River Water Management District. And we'll be looking at the design and outfalls to ensure that there are no negative effects on surrounding properties and roadways. Under public responses, and when I'm talking about public responses, I'm talking about what we received in the office. Per Florida statute and City of Leesburg Code of Ordinances, the project was legally advertised, posted, and letters sent out to the surrounding property owners. We did receive one response from neighbors, a letter from the Robertsons, who I believe have provided you with some information at your computers, some page that looks like this.
Yes, sir.
And they noted that they would be against the development subject to the requirement of a concrete wall along the south side of the Brickhurst property, as the Robertsons owned some cattle and had some concerns about liability. Under the PUD requirements, the proposal would consist of 518 detached single-family residential units, which works out on this 200 acres plus or minus to a density of 2.48 units per acre. No other uses would be permitted. The lot sizes proposed are 50 and 60 foot widths with 6,000 and 7,200 square foot sizes. The setbacks are our standards: 25 in the front, 18 in the rear, 7.5 on the, I think it's 5 on the sides, 7.5, or it can be 5 if you have gutters. The house sizes are 1,600 and 1,700 for each respective lot size, minimum of 2-car garage and a 2-floor maximum height. There are design and architectural standards required. Again, 35% of the property has to be in open space, and dark sky lighting would be required. 2 trees in each yard. 25-foot landscape buffer is required along the entirety of the property boundaries. A fence is required along the entirety of the County Road 33 frontage. Note that can be a split rail or an opaque fence, opaque being what you can't see through, and fencing is required along the remaining areas of the development as well. Site access is shown on the site plan along County Road 33. That would be subject, of course, to Lake County requirements for adding turn lanes, accel and decel lanes, etc. These access points will have to be boulevard-type roadways, which means a landscape median of at least 8 feet in width and enough lane area to allow emergency access vehicles to maneuver. Again, we require the use of Bahia or Bermuda grass instead of St. Augustine. Recreational requirements for this development include a minimum of 103,000 square feet, which is about 2.4 acres, and that'd be divided on each side of County Road 33 because this encompasses both sides. The wetlands are protected in the PUD. There is a requirement for establishing trails around the larger retention ponds, which is seen on the site plan in Exhibit C. And finally, as in all our PUDs, there is a phasing or expiration clause. This has been changed over the last several months, which requires that a development move forward with what we would call substantial commencement, pulling a building permit, getting site plans approved, and so forth, within 4 years, 48 months of the date of approval, if it is approved by City Commission. If they do not do that within 4 years, the property has an automatic reversion to the RE1 zoning district. The RE1 zoning district is 1 acre per unit. So to have a house, you got to have an acre. Again, any development would have to be on city water and wastewater. I'd like to go ahead with the recommendations. For the large-scale comp plan, project Lake Bright Brighurst County Road 33 to amend the comprehensive plan from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate Residential to allow for single-family development under case number LSCP 24-233. Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of this request for the following reasons. One, the project meets the requirements of Chapter 163.3184 Florida statutes for large-scale comp plan amendments. Two, the proposed request is compatible with the adjacent future land use designations of Lake County Rural Conservation and City of Leesburg Neighborhood Mixed Use as conditioned. And three, the proposed request is compatible with the proposed zoning of PUD and adjacent zoning districts of Lake County Agricultural, Agricultural Residential, Ranchette District, and City of Leesburg PUD. Four, the proposed future land use designation for the site is consistent with the city's growth management plan, including future land use element Goal 1, Objective 1.6, and Goal 1, Objective 1.2, Policy 1.2.4. The action requested would be to approve the proposed large-scale comprehensive plan map amendment from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate Residential and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. For the recommendation for the zoning on this, in this case, for project Lake Bright, Brighurst County Road 33, which is rezoning from Lake County Agriculture to City of Leesburg PUD to allow for single-family development under case number PUD 24234. The Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of the request for the following reasons. One, the proposed request for a PUD zoning as conditioned is compatible with the current surrounding zoning districts, including Lake County Agriculture, Agriculture Residential, Ranchette District, and City of Leesburg Plan Unit Development. Two, the proposed request for future land use designation of estate residential is compatible with the current surrounding future land use designations, including Lake County Rural Conservation and City of Leesburg Neighborhood Mixed Use. Three, the site is located along County Road 33, a developing city corridor and near future city developments of similar character and intensity. Four, the proposed request does not appear to create a detriment to surrounding properties as conditioned based on the location and proximity to compatible development. The action requested is vote to approve the proposed rezoning from Lake County A Agriculture to City PUD Plan Unit Development and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Andrew McCowan of GAI and Mr. Ben Snyder of Hanover Homes are here to answer any questions you may have, and staff is recommending approval. Thank you, sir.
Any questions of staff before we move forward?
Yes, sir. Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
On the Lake County Public Works.
Yes, sir.
The half of the page where it says Lake Thomas Road, is, they're gonna make sure this stay as a public right of way? Because I see here it says the road is not in the county, road maintenance. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Lake Thomas Road, it appears to be a public right of way, but it's not maintained by the county.
That is what the county is saying, is that it's not their road and that any vacation petition to vacate that road would have to come through the city. However, if there were people living off that road gaining access from that road, that access would have to be honored.
Okay.
So they would have to make sure that that access remained.
Thanks. Anything else? Okay.
Good afternoon. Andrew McCown with GAI Consultants in Orlando, here on behalf of Hanover Land Company, who Ben Snyder, as Dan said, is also here today to answer questions. So we're going to do it old school because IT apparently could not determine that my PowerPoint was not a virus. So I'll make sure to next time get that to the city a little bit earlier. But we do have copies for everyone here. I appreciate staff for making a couple of extras while we were waiting. So I'll wait for that to get passed out, and then we can start. Okay, so first slide is just a picture that you've seen before of the surrounding area. You can see the roadways that are in the vicinity. including County Road 33, which is the road that we have access from, Florida Turnpike, US 27 to the east, and then the crossroad just to the south of the project is Bridges Road. On the next slide, primarily what I wanted to show is that between the two halves, the left, the west and the east side, the breakdown of acreages on the east, you've got about 81 acres, and then on the west, you've got about 121 acres. So next slide. As staff said, the site is in unincorporated Lake County, but is in the Leesburg ISBA. 208 acres total, and the existing future land use category is rural, and the existing zoning is agriculture. Next slide. Our requests are to annex into the city of Leesburg, conduct a future land use map amendment to estate residential at 4 DUs per acre max, and rezone to PUD according to the plan that we provided. So on the next sheet, we'll start with the fun stuff, talking about the concept plan. The gross density, take into consideration the actual units on the plan. Even though the max density was 4, the proposed density pencils out at 2.48 DUs per acre, resulting in a maximum of 518 units. They are all single-family detached homes, a mixture of 50-foot lots and 60-foot lots, and you can see the breakdown is 405 maximum 50-foot lots, and then 113 minimum 60-foot lots. And the plan that you see has 95.4 acres of open space, including 9.4 acres of active amenities, and that is 47% of the site. Next page, you can see the west side of the project in a little bit more detail. The west side has 281 units and would be expected to develop in about 2 phases. And the breakdown on the west side between the two lot sizes are 213 50-foot lots and 68 60-foot lots. And there is a central amenity. You'll see there's actually a central amenity on each side of 33, so that you don't have to cross 33 to get to the amenity areas. And as I said before, these are all single-family detached homes. There is it doesn't specify on here, but there is a minimum 25-foot landscape buffer around the project. And to the north, you see we have positioned many of the larger 60-foot lots along the northern boundary to buffer the adjacent uses from the slightly smaller 50-foot lots that are towards the south and the interior of the site. As Dan mentioned, the large wetland and the ponds in the center of the site will have a walking trail feature around them that will incorporate the nature and provide additional access to the amenity area for the residents. There are 2 planned entrances with a possibility of a third entrance based on the interaction with Lake County regarding the roadway. One at the north will actually be co-located with the entrance to the project on the east side of 33, and then the one on the far south. So there is a good separation there. The entrance in the middle is, as the plan shows, it is an optional third, but that is to be determined. On the next sheet, you'll see a close-up of the east side of 33, a similar situation where there is a central amenity for the residents on the east side so they don't have to cross to the west side. There are 237 units, also in 2 phases, with 192 50-foot lots and 45 60-foot lots. As in the west side of the project, we have positioned the larger lots along the northern boundary, and these are all single-family detached houses. On the next page, you'll see the breakdown of the open space plan with all of the wetlands comprising 30 acres of the site, in the dark green. The ponds are in blue, even though they won't necessarily be wet ponds. People associate blue with ponds. So that's 27.6 acres, and then the 9.4 acres of parks. And then there's about 28 acres of other open areas, buffers, just spaces in between, for the total of 95.4 acres. And then the next several slides are renderings of some of the typicals, including the amenity center. And then after that are the typical home elevations for the 50s and the 60-foot lots. And you can flip through those. We have a traffic placeholder slide, which I apologize didn't make it into the prints. It was in the electronic version, but we do have the traffic engineer here who can come up and give a quick description of the traffic study that was conducted. So disregard the traffic placeholder.
State your name and address for the
Yes, sure. I'm Saidi, Traffic Mobility Consultants, 3101 McGuire Boulevard, Orlando. So, as Dan mentioned earlier, we are in the process of doing the full traffic study for the development, which goes into the details of turn lanes and intersections. So, at this point, we only did the high-level traffic analysis, which looks just at a high-level analysis of the roads. Does not look into the intersections and access yet. But as far as the road goes for County Road 33, we did look at 3 other developments that were approved recently along the same corridor close to to this proposed development. And we looked at the traffic from available capacity on the road. We added the project traffic from the other approved projects along the corridor, plus the traffic generated from this development. And with all 4 projects, there was about 15 to 20% available capacity on the road with the existing plus all the 4 projects. That's all we have for now, but as I said, the next step will be the more detailed.
Will you have that at the county, or at the commission meeting, city commission?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? Thanks.
When do you propose the final traffic study to be done?
It should be done within a month or so. So hopefully by the commission.
By the city commission?
By the city commission.
That's what I just asked.
Yeah, we won't take
sorry.
it before the city commission
Yeah.
until that's fully completed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
So the last slide, I believe, yes, the last slide is about some proposed changes to the ordinance that Dan showed today. They are fairly minor changes. In fact, they're just 2. So the lot depth in the ordinance for both the 50s and the 60s says 120 foot, and we are proposing that depth be changed to 115. For some reason, it says 11 on there. I'm not sure why it says 11, but it would be 115 instead of 120. The minimum house size would not change. And then also for the rear setback, in the ordinance currently it says 18 feet, and we would propose that be reduced to 15-foot rear setback. Those are the 2 changes that we are proposing. And with that is the end of my presentation. We are available for any questions you have.
Is the front setback far enough to park the cars in the driveway without blocking sidewalks?
Yes, there's 25 feet.
Okay. That's always my pet peeve. Any other questions of the applicant?
What's the starting prices of these homes?
Ben Snyder, Hanover Land Company, 605 Commonwealth Avenue, Orlando. The price point has not been established yet. It is years down the road by the time we get through,
Market price.
Yes, sir. I mean, the market prices. It is market housing based on market demand. It's not active adult. It's not subsidized houses. I mean, they're standard primary homes, consistent with the other standard primary homes being built in the city. So, I mean, I can do a market analysis and bring it, but they'll be consistent with the homes that we're building in Eagle Tail and the other projects that we've gotten recently approved through the city.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I don't like these small lot size. So, and I understand you're trying to get as much property, much homes on the land that you can, but the last time that I think the last time that Hanover brought something, I believe we mentioned that to them, and we still getting these small lot size.
Well, we had talked about the 40-foot lots and understood those were too small, and we had two projects that we did 40-foot lots, and we heard from city staff and P&Z and commission that you didn't want any more 40-foot lots. But then the 50-foot lots, are the kind of bread and butter that allow more people to afford to buy a home. The larger you push the lots, the more expensive the homes get, and the bigger they are. We're trying to match the market and keep houses reasonably, affordable where normal people can buy the houses. And that 50-foot lot allows us to build from 1,700 feet up to 3,200 feet. So it really hits a big segment of the market, and we find it really well received by people trying to live in Leesburg. We don't want to push people out of Leesburg because we get such big lots they can't afford them,
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to open this up to the public. You'll be limited to 3 minutes per. And please try not to be repetitive. If somebody before you brings up certain subject matter, please try not to go over the same thing. I know it's emotional, but this way we stay on course here. All right. William Robertson? Please state your name and your address, please.
Hello there. William Robertson, 23404 County Road 33. We are on the south side of Phase 3, I believe is where we are over, as you can look up there. We've got 33 acres out there. We've lived there for 36 years and raised cattle. And yes, and you have the pictures in front of you. The front page is our gate entranceway. It shows about a 1,000-foot driveway that goes up to our home. Second page is a picture of our home. I'll try and scoot through these pretty quickly. The third picture is going up our driveway, and you can see the fence line there. We have a 66-foot wide driveway, which is a deeded access that goes in. And so these homes, the back of these homes are going to be now, it was 18, now 15 feet from the fence, it sounds like to me, which is pretty close. Understand that the city requires only split rail or possibly poly fence, which is not going to really work if you go back a little further for privacy for us and for the people. The next page, go through the photos here. Number 5 is the same driveway area, just a look coming down, headed to the west, coming down the other way. You can look, City of Leesburg has poly fences on picture number 5 here, show what some of them look like. What they get to looking like. Number 6 here shows, once again, poly fence area in there for animals to go underneath and that sort of thing and come over and interfere with our cattle operation. Dogs come across, kind of thing like that. People have kids come across. They want to go cow tipping. Anybody ever done that? Here's another one in the city of Leesburg right there on West Main Street showing all the space underneath and how crooked they are and everything like that. They look terrible. What we're proposing is concrete wall. That's what we'd like to have along there. If you go to the next picture down there, just right down 33, and it will be city of Mascot down there. Roper Trails is about a quarter mile north of Highway 50. They've got concrete fence all the way around. They're similar sized, 50-foot by like about 120 depth lots and same type homes, two-story little homes. Next picture is on the other side of 33, about a tenth of a mile north of Highway 50. Woodbury, it's got concrete walls. So concrete walls not out of the question as far as these small neighborhoods. And we'd like for the city of Leesburg to pass this and approve it based on requiring something like that. That's what we'd like for you to do. We feel like that will preserve our quality, and also we've got neighbors around us and they feel the same way about their quality. I mean, we'll drive up our driveway and be looking in the back window of somebody washing dishes, you know, in their home right there. So we're not real crazy about it.
That's time.
I'm sorry, time?
Time, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Time flies. Okay, Karen Robertson, did you want to also? State your name for and address again for the
Karen
record.
Robertson. My address is 2344 County Road 33. And,
Could you bring that mic down a little bit? So-
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, and I don't know if you can see it up there, but on the plan, the whole entire south end of that property on the right is our property, and our driveway is only 66 feet. Oh, all right. I can see a pointer. I don't know how to use it. Oh, you hold it? Okay. This is our driveway coming in right here, from here to here. And this is our property right here. So we are only 66 feet across. Every time we drive in, we're going to see it, and you're wanting to back it up even closer, right on our property line. Burns and I went to an attorney, a real estate attorney, and she was telling us about, you know, it's going to damage the value of our property. It's also not secure, because we don't want dogs coming under, come after our calves, kill our calves, people climbing over, and really the only way to preserve our property and ensure that no one gets hurt on our property. And she also said it's not fair to push liability onto us. And so, you know, we don't want anyone to get hurt, you know. And also, we've owned it 36 years. This is our homestead. And we don't want the value of it to be depreciated. And these very small lot size, and if you notice, they put the smallest ones on our side, right there. That whole side is our side. So as I drive in, this only 66 feet wide, I'm going to be looking at the back of these 22 little bitty, itty bitty lots. And I'm not even adding that right there, because we're up on a hill. And so some of those pictures are going up the hill, some of the pictures are coming down the hill. We're right there on the line. And so the attorney told us the only way to preserve it is to require them to build a wall. Okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
That was under 3 minutes because I forgot to set the timer. Okay, Bentley Robertson. I see a theme here.
Hi, hello. My name is Bentley Robertson. I live at 23404 County Road 33, same as my parents. So this development, I think it's good to compare it to down off of American Way over there towards the Groveland entrance to the Turnpike. That's a very, very good development that has come up recently for with a Kroger, Niagara Bottling. I'm a junior chemical engineering student at USF, and over there at Niagara Bottling is hiring right now for graduates in my major. So I would say that's a very, very responsible development over there off of American Way with that nice, very successful industrial park. But over here, roping in surrounding property owners to this liability is just kind of irresponsible so far. And these itty bitty lots where all these people are so close, and this cow tipping thing, right? Well, there is this real possibility of children coming up, and I've been charged by a bull before, and they're very fast, and these families of these children would be forced to sue, possibly. I mean, so far, these houses are being marketed towards this normal person, or these people who are unable to afford these more expensive homes. So I think it makes sense that the what is it? So these people would possibly be forced to sue, and then thus creating this liability due to them already being at a lower economic state, right? So that's what this whole marketing scheme is for these lower plot sizes. So yeah, just hopefully this can be a very responsible development with a probably 6-foot concrete wall at least. And I think that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Gerald Robinson.
My name's Gerald Robinson. I live at 3520 Desert Lane. My property is the dark green square just to the right of Phase 1 there, where it says Phase 1. That's it, right there. When we moved out there 30-plus years ago, it was burnt orange grove, had been somewhat cleared. My wife and I have been out there. We've got trees growing. I planted most of those trees myself. When I go to bush hog my front field, first I have to walk along the border of 33 and pick up the drive shafts that fell off cars, the vodka bottles, beer bottles, anything that can puncture a tractor tire or get thrown on with the bush hog. The problem that I have with this is you see all those houses bordering the back of my property and the adjacent ones to the left. That's my property right there. All those houses along there, if I'm not mistaken, is the larger lots, right?
Yes.
Those are going to be 2-story houses to get the square footage they want. Those, even with an 8-foot fence and a buffer zone, are going to look right in my backyard. My house is approximately 150 feet from my back fence. So we have a swimming pool, we've got grandkids and great-grandkids, and that's all we need. We had the same problem with the fire tower. We would be out there in our pool, and we would see the fire tower guy with binoculars watching us in the pool. That's not cool. I had one of these laser pointers, and one day I caught him up there, and I shined a laser pointer on it, and we never had that problem no more. So what I would like, if this goes on and continues, is a block wall all the way down, number one, for liability. My wife and I are talking about getting some livestock. We have dogs. We had rabbits at one point. And I've seen stray dogs and such coming up on our property. There was someone that lived back up in this area somewhere. Their hunting dog come down to my property and was trying to get into the rabbit.
Yeah,
I called them up, and they said, "Oh, well, that's my sister's dog. You can do whatever you want with it." I don't want that to happen. I started to take care of the problem, and I thought, you know what? This isn't my problem. This is theirs. So I put the dog back to them. I'm against this. The entrance on 33, I had to change my work hours to get out of my driveway when construction was going on. I counted 17 dump trucks going by before I could even get out to work. I had to move my time of work a full half hour early just to get out of Desert Lane.
Thank you very much. Donna Robinson.
Hi, my name's Donna Robinson. I live at 3520 Desert Lane, Groveland, Florida. And I want to stay Groveland, Florida. I don't want to be brought into the city of Leesburg. I don't want my taxes raised. I don't want this traffic on that road. He can say all day what he wants to say about that traffic. You don't live there. I sit on my back patio and I hear that traffic, and I've even got trees where the big semis go through. It's constant. You go down to Okahumpka where the Villages has come in, where you've all sold that out to them. That intersection down there, you have to sit there 3 lights to get through there. You explain to me how you're going to get all them people in those houses and be able to go down that road. It's going to have to be a 4-lane highway before it's all over with. Yeah, it's right on the top of a hill. There's going to be so many accidents, it's not going to even be funny. I mean, I understand you guys, what you're wanting to do, but you're taking away from people that have gave and gave and gave, and now it's time to pull back a little bit. Do not think I'm mad or anything. I just don't see the roadway. I'm an EMT, or I was. You don't understand. That hill, they topped that hill going wide open. I don't even understand the one down on the corner of 460 whatever with the little yellow light, where they're putting that big thing there on the corner. There's going to be so many accidents because even the people coming out from Plantation on their side road, they pull out in front of people. So, you know, you better have your fire department, your police department, and hospitals ready, because the more people coming, the more traffic coming, the more pollution coming. So, you know, I appreciate you giving me your time.
Thank you. And just for your information, that whether this goes through or not, you will not be in the city.
It don't matter, still traffic.
I know, I was just letting you know.
I know that, but it's still traffic, and
Right.
the road cannot hold it. I'm
Right.
just telling you, I've lived there for 30 years.
Right, I was just letting you know so you don't think you have to pay city taxes.
No, I ain't going to. I'll move.
Okay, I was just trying to be friendly. Apparently it didn't work. James Revels.
Can I see your pointer a minute?
Everybody's getting in the act.
It'd be a lot better. Oh, here it is. See how it works.
Rent that thing out.
Okay,
State
my
your
name
name and
is
your address,
James
please.
Revels. I live at 3430 Desert Lane. I got an adjoining piece of property to where I live at. And right there, if I can do it, I live right there, right there. I got roughly about 1,000 foot of fence line that joins up where it says Phase 1 right there, okay? I have lived there since 1991. What's that, 33, 34 years. I was the first one there. There wasn't one tree sticking up nowhere as far as the eye can see. My family homesteaded the USDA right there before it became the USDA. My family's lived on that dirt region for 111 years in that area, okay? And where the neighbor was talking at, right about there, there's a hill, and it's a blind hill. If you come out the end of Desert Lane and you look back south, you roughly got about maybe 600-700 feet, the hill bowls off. And what happens when you pull out of Desert Lane right there where it says Phase 1 out, I live on the west side of 33 there, what happens is you can't see, and some of that traffic comes over that hill 60 and 70 miles an hour. And if you go north in the Okahumpka roughly after 7 o'clock in the morning, the traffic is backed up from the red light in Okahumpka at the stores back this way all the way to, what's that, 48, it goes towards Center Hill, backed up. That's because the Villages is done took over 470. So now you got the impact of another 200,000 or 300,000 homes in the Villages, and now the impact of this intersecting into one little junction. I literally have to go through Okahumpka just to bypass it. But anyway, back to my fence line there. These homes are going to probably be between $300,000 and $400,000 homes in reality, okay? What's going to happen, I got 1,000 foot of fence line. I've got hog pens. I raise hogs, chickens, and cows on my property. I got hog pen around my back fence. What's going to happen, they're going to build them homes there, and people's going to see that hog pen. Their houses are not going to sell. So what's going to happen is going to be some kind of litigation because I'm zoned ag. I'm grandfathered in for 30-something years, okay? So I'm recommending on my back fence, for the sake of them selling their homes, to put up a block wall at least 8, 10 feet high, just like the villages, just like y'all approved the villages, okay? And that way, from the line of sight, they won't see me. Kosher, unkosher, some of us don't live as fancy as the homes they're going to build. And I don't see them selling them homes with me 1,000 foot of fence line right there hindering them.
Time.
You see what I mean? Because they go, I ain't going to live there. Oh, stinky old hog pen there.
Time.
Chickens running around in the yard. You see what I mean? So,
Thank you.
So something needs to do with the wall. And one more
That's-
thing. It ain't
no,
going to
that's
drive
it.
up our tax value.
That's
is it?
time.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Keith Thompson?
Good evening.
State your name and your address, please.
Yes, Keith Thompson, 3205 Desert Lane. And I just have a few questions just to clarify. I think you've already answered one of them, which is the zoning effect it's going to have on the residential area around. And I think I heard you say it's not going to affect our zoning.
Correct. You'll stay in the county.
I'll stay in the county.
Yeah.
Okay, and as far as the tax impact?
I don't have control over that, but I would.
I mean, this is not going to, because it's going to raise the value of the properties in the area. So that's my concern.
Yeah.
Is my taxes is already high, and so that's a big concern that this is going to increase my property taxes even more. So that's one. The second is the impact based on the number of homes is the traffic situation. Probably, I've been living here for probably 18 to 20 years. Almost every year, there's a major accident right there on 33 and Bridges Road. I'm sure you guys might be aware of it because it happens all the time. So with this many houses and the population increase, I can only anticipate that the traffic is going to just increase. And as Mr. Rebel said, right there at Desert Lane, where the road crowns over, those cars going north, speed, you got trucks, cars flying over that hill. And when we're coming out of Desert Lane to turn, it's very dangerous as it is right now. So I know, I think I heard there's a traffic study that's being done. So those are some of the concerns that I have as far as the traffic. Is there any plans, or I guess it's probably too early to tell, whether the road is going to be widened?
On the roads, because we work with Lake County and we send all these applications to Lake County. And what I had mentioned in the early part of my part of the presentation was Lake County responded with a full page of requirements widening the road. That has to come out of their property. And turn lanes and acceleration and deceleration lanes. There was a number of things that Lake County will require, and when that happens, the city of Leesburg fully supports what Lake County is requesting through the PUD process.
Okay. I did not get a letter. My neighbors did, and so I only saw the signs that were posted.
That's time.
Yeah.
No, time's up.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, that's all the notices I got to speak. Does the applicant have anything to follow up?
Andrew McCown with the GAI Consultant, 618 East South Street, Orlando. The one thing that I wanted to respond, I'm sure Ben also wants to respond to some of the things, was that there will be no lots that back directly into the project boundary. So all the project boundaries, unless there's a stormwater pond or a wetland or something like that, will have the minimum 25-foot landscape buffer, and then the lot starts. So it'll be the 25-foot plus the setback of the home. That's the distance between the nearest property, the nearest adjacent property, and the nearest home. So it'll be the buffer plus the setback, not just the setback of the home. So I hope that clears up.
Okay.
I have a question of him.
Ben Snyder here to answer any questions that the commissioners have. And also just to clarify, we won't be building all two-story houses of either lot size. We have a nice mix of single and two-story in both the 50 and 60-foot lots. It's a nice variation. And happy to, yes, sir.
Fence, let's talk fence. What do y'all propose on fencing?
In the PUD, it has a split rail fence down County Road 33 and a split rail fence anywhere that there's not an opaque buffer now, in addition to a split rail or a privacy fence, in addition to the required 25-foot landscape buffer that is standard in all the projects.
How about along the Robinsons' pastures where they have bulls and cows?
Yes, sir. It's the same there. I think the Robertsons' barbed wire fence should be sufficient to keep their cows in now and in the future. We've had that discussion with other residents that we've built adjacent to, and they've certainly said, you know, it's their responsibility to keep their animals on their property, and their barbed wire fences should do that.
Doesn't keep dogs and things like that from coming through and chasing the cows and the calves?
No, and trespassing laws don't change when we get a project approved. I mean, it's not okay for people's dogs to go onto other people's property. It's not okay for other people to go onto other people's property. So none of this changes the laws that exist to protect them from other people encroaching into their property.
Would you consider a more permanent fence along those property lines?
We have seen and heard from people that don't want to be surrounded by concrete walls. They feel like it's a almost prison, you know.
Well, if there's a hog pen on the other side,
environment.
they're going to change their mind real quick.
They might, and they might not choose to live there, you know, and that's their prerogative for sure. But we've seen when we've surrounded subdivisions with concrete walls that people kind of feel boxed in. They'd rather have the vegetative buffer, the split rail fence, the kind of more natural and rural feel.
You'd have the landscape buffer and then the fence.
Correct. Yes, sir. And we think that, and have heard from residents buying in our projects, that that's not the direction that they prefer to have projects go in, and that they prefer to back up to.
Well, I've had cows and I've had problems with dogs coming and chasing my cows, and I think these folks have been there for several years. You need to respect their concern about their safety of their animals. And I would like to see you come up with some sort of a permanent fence that would resolve that problem.
Okay, we will note that concern.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Dan, when that traffic study is done, that's public information, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
They are allowed to.
We can put it on the city website. Anyone can look at it.
So they could see what the impact would be on that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the current zoning is, can you repeat what that current zoning is now?
Agriculture.
Okay, so that would be one unit per acre.
In the county, it's usually 1 per 5. I'm like, Christine, is that correct? 1 unit per 5 acres.
1 per 5 acre. Okay. So that would be more in accordance to what's going on around there, what's currently around there. Well, it looks
Actually,
like a little
yes.
bit. Yes, okay.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll close to the public and open for discussion and any kind of decision. And this, let me specify which case. In case number 5, public hearing case number LSCP 24-233, Lake Bright, Brighurst, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
My concern is if you close it to the public,
Yes.
Okay. Is, again, what I mentioned, the fence and the security of the people that have been there for years. Growth is going to happen. We're not going to be able to seem to stop that. We try and slow it down the best we can, but
It's inevitable.
it's going to happen.
Yes.
But if there's a motion on this, and all I'm going to ask, if possible, that we include some sort of protection of a permanent fence.
That'll be in the next case, correct?
That's true.
CUP.
It's very true. Very
So
true.
what we're motioning on currently is, clarify that for me.
It's the comprehensive plan.
Right. The large scale.
It's,
Right.
Amendments.
LSCP 24-2-33.
that's allowing the use, so to speak,
Right.
That's allowing the use for the,
residential.
The future land use map change only. If I may clarify, the amendments that Commissioner Bowersox is referencing would then come on the next case, which would be the zoning case, which has all of the zoning conditions in it.
okay,
So that's
so
all
right
the
now we're
rules and
just
regulations.
approving it
Yes,
to be
ma'am.
used for residential.
Essentially, yes,
Yeah.
residential only.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve public hearing case number LSCP 242-33, the Lake Right Earth Large Scale Comprehensive Plan and Amendment.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Doesn't sound like it, Mr. Chairman.
No second? Well, dies for the lack of a second.
Don't need to worry about the fence right now, do
Mm-mm. Well, we still have to bring it up.
I? Yeah.
I mean, since it's been brought to us.
Yeah, in regards to that, the project is just too detrimental to the surrounding area. That's just my feeling on it, and listening to the residents and knowing that area. It is totally going to change the topography of that, and I don't feel like we have to sell out to every developer that comes along that wants to develop. It's not fair to, we don't have to. Growth is coming, but we can be responsible in it. And so that was why I had the question in regards to what is currently there. There is nothing wrong with the developer coming back with something that is more complacent to the area. And if you're going to build homes and you're building them for the money, then larger lots, so be it. So if it's $1 million home, that's what we get. Everybody around it has to get used to. Taxes are, you can put anything on there. It's going to go up, period. So if that's what's going to go there, then that's what needs to go there to keep it to what it looks like. We don't have to stick 500 homes everywhere all over Lake County. It can stay the way it is, and we can still have responsible, beautiful growth. And I don't like all these homes coming and them just paying off the school system for school zone. I say it every time, and I hope eventually a developer will listen. Bring your home project, bring a charter school, bring something along to help educate the kids that you want to bring in the community, and stop burdening the taxpayers every dime. That's it. So,
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, public hearing case number PUD 24-234, Lake Bright Brighurst Plan Unit Development. Is there a motion on that case?
We have the first one, but we know the second one.
Mr. Chair, case number LSCP 24-233, Lake Bright, Brighthurst, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment. I vote to deny.
Okay, motion is denied.
I believe he said 233.
It's the second one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry.
PUD.
PUD 24234. Like, Lake Bright, Brighthurst plan unit development. Vote to deny.
Okay, the motion is to deny. Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion?
Don't need to mention the fence.
Roll call?
Commissioner Bowersox,
Yes for denial.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes for denial.
Chairman Senate,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. I do want to remind you that this still goes to the city commission. So they can, ours is just a recommendation.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Chairman, on that point, back to case number 5 there, the LSCP 24-233, there was a motion that did not receive a second, and just to revisit that, perhaps if nothing else, for purposes of moving it along to City Commission, don't know if anybody would have any consideration to make a negative motion on that one and see if that gains any
wondered about
traction.
that, yeah.
Yes,
That
sir.
was in the back of my
So
mind.
just to toss that out again so we can procedurally make sure everything moves along properly.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we deny SCP 24-233.
Thank you.
I second it.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Sanders,
No.
Commissioner Bowersox,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Chairman Senate,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan. Yes. Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Question.
Yep.
Now, if that would have died for lack of traction, it would have went forward to the city?
It's unclear what would have happened at that point. So having a clear motion and decision makes it a lot more clear. I think they could seemingly have brought the same application back and asked the same thing again until we ultimately got some kind of decision. But City Commission has to get some kind of recommendation up or down for it to continue to move forward procedurally. So without an up or down vote, it's just kind of waffling in limbo. We could hear it again next month, and because there's not been a denial, so they haven't been turned down.
Right.
So they can just keep coming back and asking and asking and asking. So this allows it procedurally to still move forward through the process, and City Commission will hear it. But because there was a down vote from Planning and Zoning, it will require a vote of the entire City Commission versus a vote where some of the commissioners may not be present. So by denying it, every commissioner will have to be present to make a vote on this particular matter, and not just part of them.
You make more than $25 a meeting then.
And that just
Actually, well, depending on what the retainer works out to, yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, just clarification again, in case I don't think if it was heard.
Yes, ma'am.
We are not responsible, nor did we make the final decision on what goes on at that property.
That's 100% correct.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Your recommendation for future land use and for zoning cases is a recommendation only. Special exceptions and I think variances, maybe a couple of things you have final say on. This is not one of those. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, this case is scheduled to go to the City Commission on September 23rd.
Right.
From here. So I would like to ask if anyone plans to attend that meeting, please feel free to contact my office so we can verify that it will go on the 23rd. Sometimes things change and we have to shift things back, and I don't want you to have to show up at a meeting hoping to speak, and then don't want you to waste your time if it's not going to be on there. But we would like to make that announcement. So please feel free to call my office or stop by across the street, and we will give you the latest information that we have on the schedule, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to move forward because we still have to do the comp plan. Thank you very much. You feel free to leave. I'll give you about 5 minutes to vacate before we start the other.
You were saying contact your office, you got a call. 3 minutes just ain't enough.
Well, sometimes there's dozens of people.
We're actually carved in stone there.
Yeah.
Your property's got a lot more on it than.
Hey, listen, you sit here sometimes and people will talk for a half hour.
All I can say, it's a micro system. Because everything around it is desert. That's not, just look at it. There's a lot in there, trust me.
All right. Take care.
But anyway, it's gonna be another 8 days.
Yeah, the 23rd as of right now, but sure. Just make sure you check in, because like I said, the developer may postpone it to another
He
day.
may come back, he could come back.
Call and make sure before I come, right?
Right, yeah, just to save you a trip.
He's the one that criticizes his plan too, at least for now.
Yeah. There you go.
That look, this gonna look good.
Yeah. Take care, man.
He came back with all the notes.
Yeah.
But now they're gonna have to change the way that they ain't gonna.
We're going to start back up in a couple minutes, so if you got a big discussion, take it outside. That's the reason for the 5 minutes. Yeah.
I make some big bucks, we go. That's right. We appreciate you, Grant.
Yes, sir. So we're all on the same, though. We make the same no matter how long you're here. So we're on the same.
Please make your way out of the room, please, if you're speaking, because we are starting back up.
Have we got another case?
Yes.
We got a comp plan.
We're gonna be here
That's
for
why,
another
that's
hour
why I was
and a
trying to keep everyone from just chit-chatting.
We're gonna be here for another hour and a half, 2 hours. Bill.
I'm starting on time, so if you got to go, you better go. Pay attention.
Start sending signals.
Yeah, recommendation.
I was noticing I had my right socks on today.
Oh, watch out. Hey, good, rock and roll.
That's right.
I love it.
Perfect.
I love it. Saw some of those. I was up in Jessup, Georgia.
Oh, really?
This last weekend. I saw a bunch of socks like that in David's men's store.
My parents got them from Graceland.
Been
Not
there.
too far.
What are they? Calling back to order. Public hearing case number CPTA 24-230. 2045 City of Leesburg Comprehensive Plan Update and Water Supply Facilities Work Plan Update Comprehensive Plan Text Amendment. That's a heck of a title.
Yeah, that's the title, isn't it?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Wait, we got a couple. John O'Kelly, should I check on him?
No, I checked on him. He good.
Oh, he's all right.
Yeah, he good.
He may have fallen down the stairs.
I've started the meeting, please.
I know it.
I'm not, people drag their feet. I'm not, I'm timely.
10 years, all the cities and counties in the state of Florida are required to write or update a comprehensive plan. Let me start that over because he didn't hear it. Every 10 years, every city and county in the state of Florida is required to write or update their comprehensive plan for the city. What you have today is a massive packet that's on your thumb drive there. I think it came out to 1,000 pages, Melissa, something like that. And it contains several versions of the same document. Okay, so we want to clarify that. We have one in the legislative. This is the actual comp plan that is being that we've been working on for the past 18 months or so, give or take. There's one in legislative format, which is the strike and underline version. So you see how it goes from old to new. Then there's the planning and zoning department brand version, which is the pretty one, the one that's we want to end up being a public document that is the one for publication and the one that you'll see. And then the third one is it's on text on plain paper, and Candy can get more into detail on these if you need to. But we want you to see all the iterations and complexities of creating such a document, because the comp plan manages and directs the future growth and development of the city. It's our, forgive the phrase, but it's sort of our Bible for what we do in the planning department and how a city runs under its operations under the 14 elements. Now, this comprehensive plan is tentatively scheduled to be heard by City Commission for its first reading September 9. We're pushing that date because it has to be transmitted to the Florida Department of Commerce, which is the old DEO, the old DCA. Every new governor gets a new name for this particular department, but it's right now called Department of Commerce. That's the state agency that will review the data and the analysis, the proposed language in each of the 14 elements. As a reminder, an element is like a chapter in a book. It's a topic or an area, and I'm trying to stall a bit while we get our passwords back up. But an element is a subject area, kind of like a chapter in a book or a textbook or something. And there are 14 elements in these comp plans. The state agencies will take the data, the analysis, the background, all the work that's been done, all that work which is turned into goals, objectives, and policies, the same ones that we use when we are looking at a case that we are bringing to you for your recommendation. So that review with the state will take about 60 days. And that's all under Chapter 163, Florida statutes. From there, it would hit the second City Commission reading on or about December 9th. We're hoping to maintain that schedule. So within the city's comprehensive plan is the water supply plan. The water supply plan is basically 4 elements, and we'll get into that more in a moment. There's basically 4 elements of the comprehensive plan that help us know what is our demand for water, how much water we need, where that water's coming from, and so forth. If there's no water, there's no development, there's no nothing. So we have to, every city has to be very clear and precise about where and how it's getting its water and how much it is allowed to take from the aquifer, from its own wells, and that involves St. John's, FDEP, every many state agencies and organizations, so forth. Okay, once the December 9 meeting has occurred, and as long as the state doesn't blow up over our comp plan, and we've hired people to make sure that that doesn't happen, but Then the comp plan, the new comp plan would be official 30 days after December 9, because there is, in all these ordinances that we work on, there's generally a 30-day challenge period. And I've got the city attorney here to jump in if I mess any of this up, but a 30-day challenge period. So if someone wants to challenge it and sue, they can do that. At that point, that 30 days, which
Any
would
of us
be...
can do that?
I'm sorry? Literally anyone can do that. But at that point, then it would be official and you couldn't really challenge it. So we're looking at January 2025 for the drop dead date where everything's done. December 9 of this year, where City Commission has approved it. I wanted to talk a bit about the comp plan because it's a massive document, because you get it and you can't go through 1,000 pages. And we respect it and understand that.
Is that it? Set it next to Candy? You can hold it up?
Well, it's two versions. There's two in here. There's a template version and there's a straight through underline. So
There's a
it's two
third one,
versions.
too.
I'll pass down the pretty version.
No, you can keep it right there.
And basically, everyone on our staff worked on it in some fashion, whether they were actively working with our consultants on writing the wording or reviewing the wording, or they were filling in for someone who was. So it's very important to acknowledge what the staff did on this, because...
And you're in charge of carrying it.
And I'm in charge of sitting here and talking. But my staff did a wonderful job, and we think our consultants did a wonderful job as well. But I wanted to talk about, go over a few items so that, and then present our consultant to answer any questions. The question comes up, and I know you're the Planning Commission, but I wanted to kind of go back to basics, because it's in order for you to make your best decision, we need you to have as much information as possible. So if someone asks you what is a comprehensive plan, I'm hoping that you'll say it's a blueprint for the vision or growth and development of a city for the future. Just like if you're going to build a building, you need a set of blueprints. Same thing. It's called the Growth Management Plan, which you've heard. It's called the Comprehensive Plan, the Comp Plan. It's all the same thing. Different cities call it different things. But the Comp Plan is the answer, is asking and answering the question, where do we want to be? How do we get there? Okay? And it will guide our development actions for the next, usually a 20 to 30-year period. In this case, we have chosen a 20-year planning horizon. So this will be the 2045 Comprehensive Plan. And if I could get... Candy, if you can hold that just for a second. So you can see the window of time is 20 years from now, from 2025 to 2045. And thank you, Vanna. So it's updated. It's updated every 10 years, and that generally coincides with after the U.S. Census, which happens every 10 years. A comprehensive plan holds the full force and effect of Florida law. So we can't violate our comp plan. We can work on the zoning, we can use our PUDs, we can put in conditions, we can do things which you saw twice tonight in different PUDs. What we can't do is violate that comp plan. We have to be very careful with that. The purpose of a comp plan then is providing the principles, the guidelines, the standards for the orderly and balanced growth, economically, physically, environmentally. That's what it's doing. It's our guide. It's our basis. And that comes out of, that's paraphrased out of Chapter 163 of Florida statutes. There are 14 state-mandated elements. Again, just think of those as chapters. Going down the list, you have future land use. That's the one we deal with here the most. But then there's also transportation, housing, sanitary sewer, potable water, drainage, solid waste, aquifer recharge, conservation, recreation and open space, intergovernmental coordination, capital improvements, aviation, and property rights. So there's 14 elements in total. And those are written in a manner that you can make decisions off of that plan, off of what's written in that plan that is safe legally, if I may say that. It gives us our guide. So we coordinate the comp plan with all kinds of local, regional, and state agencies. All the city of Leesburg different departments see the comp plan. Lake County Planning, Public Works, Lake County School Board, the Lake Sumter Metropolitan Planning Organization, the East Central Florida Regional Planning Commission, the Florida Department of Commerce, which is the land planning agency for Florida, again, formerly DCA, formerly DEO. The Florida Department of Transportation, Department of Environmental Protection, did I say DOT? FAA, St. John's, the U.S. Navy, because there are some facilities in this area. So there's a ton of coordination that goes on with this behind the scenes. What you see in a zoning case has been through, depending on the type of case, many or all of these agencies. We use it as our guiding document for development in the city. We recommend as a staff action to you based on the comprehensive plan, whether it's an amendment to a zoning, a rezoning, anything, pretty much anything we do is going to somehow involve the comprehensive plan. Some of the revisions that we're doing for the 2045 comp plan have to do with the future land use element. We have added, remember the Sunnyside case? I think no one can forget that one, right? We have created a new Sunnyside future land use category. It's called Sunnyside Estates. It has 3 levels of density bands. That matches it up to the old 2004 Sunnyside study that was part of the big argument between city and county residents and led to the recent lawsuit that was been settled since April or so. We've added in there the villages future land use called age-restricted development, which is the future land use category and zoning category that's used for our area of the villages. We've added, and you've seen all of these changes over the years since our last comp plan, but they're being officially added into the printed document. Orange Bend, which some of you were on in 2017 or I think it was 2017 when we brought that one in, which is north on County Road 44. That's a future land use category. And then, of course, the Bug Spring impact overlay that has to do with the Navy and the facilities out there. There's some changes in the aviation element, one of those being that we reference the airport master plan that was recently adopted by the City Commission. We referenced that to add it into our comp plan, and it was revised to conform with Chapter 333 of the Florida statutes. And then in the transportation element, we noted one of the important things that we felt and Candy drove was other jurisdictional rights of way. In other words, roads that are not City of Leesburg responsibility, which in terms of the development that, or the zonings, which zoning is different from development, but the zonings that we're experiencing, many of those are feeding out onto roads that are in the county, but they're major roadways.
Dealt with that today.
Yes, we dealt with that today, exactly. And then we're also working on some wording that will seek a rational nexus between the collection of transportation impact fees and the expenditure of those funds where the development is located. And the county is working with us and they're doing that, but we want to have that cemented in our comp plan. And finally, my favorite element is the property rights element because it's one page. I think we had to make it, yeah. But it's required by Florida statutes and it has to be added to all comprehensive plans. And we adopted that, and you all saw this back in 2021 in the summer. Our goals for this comp plan on this go-round was to simplify, okay? When you get a bunch of planners together, you get a whole bunch of people talking in planner speak and using, you know, we were getting a PUD in the C2 district for an LUP, you know, and it just goes on, and people get confused. So we wanted it to be readable by a citizen who does not work in these areas. You have the benefit of being on this commission and understanding those terms, which is great, and we as a staff appreciate that. But a lot of the folks that were here tonight do not. And we want them to be able to look at our comp plan and understand it, not necessarily to the level that all of us do, but to a good level that they're comfortable and they understand what's required. So we want to create a allow the direct, clear application of the goals, objectives, and policies, and create a practical document that's usable and implements an overall vision for the day-to-day community development activities. I want to bring out one more thing about the big difference between comprehensive plan and zoning. A comprehensive plan is the blueprint for the future growth. It divides a community into different future land use categories via the future land use map. And those generally break down into residential, commercial, industrial, and recreation, open space, or farmland, those kind of things. There's not that many broad land use categories that everything can't fill into. All development has to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. And Chapter 163 is how we build that comprehensive plan, the requirements for that. Under zoning, zoning is how you implement the comprehensive plan. So when you see the zoning case that has the PUD or the C2, C1, C2, C3, all those zoning categories, what that is doing is taking those comprehensive plan goals, objectives, and policies and turning it into feet on the street, so to speak, so that we can implement those requirements, the setbacks, the height requirements, all the different things that a comprehensive plan says you need to do. This says how to do it on a day-to-day basis. It's the legal authority, the zoning, again, legal authority that separates incompatible land uses, i.e. apartments, from industrial land uses, which is really important. And zoning has to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. And our guiding document on that is Chapter 25, which is the zoning code, essentially the land development regulations. In the adoption of this, what we're asking you to look at tonight, there is the water supply plan, which will be adopted. And the water supply plan consists of potable water conservation, capital improvements, and intergovernmental coordination. And so that ensures consistency. By adopting that plan, we're ensuring consistency with regional jurisdiction, regional agencies that have jurisdiction, such as St. Johns River Water Management District. How we're going to get our water, where it's coming from, how much on average, the average household uses whatever, 250 gallons per person per day, or whatever the number happens to be. So that's a part of the comprehensive plan. And those all 14 elements are then combined into the document that you see here that will go forward to City Commission. So in 2023, we got a contract with Calvin Giordano and Associates, and through 2023 and 24, they compiled data. They worked with us. They met with all the different city departments. They recommended options. In 2024, we worked together to host some public workshops to receive citizen feedback. There was one held down at Venetian Center and one held down at the Resource Center on 468. And then we reviewed the existing 2012 comp plan and updated the goals, objectives, and policies. When I say we, we're talking about the consultant and staff, the consultant doing a major portion of that load. But And we took all that data that was gathered and looked at the goals, objectives, and policies and said, how do we amend this to meet these, to help this data become feet on the street, so to speak. And then in 2024, we got together and wanted to create a document that's usable. We don't need a fancy high-brow type of document. I know a lot of cities want that. We want something that we can use, and we feel like that has been accomplished. So we reviewed the existing comp plan, gathered data, reviewed changes. It's being presented to you, being presented to the City Commission. It will go and be transmitted to the Florida Commerce Department, or they like to be known as Florida Commerce. That'll take 60 days. It'll get its second reading in December and then be retransmitted with the 30 days. Candy, correct me if I'm wrong. It's 60-day. And so we should get it all done early in 2025, officially, legally. Okay. So in 2023, the city did hire Calvin Giordano and Associates. And today we have with us Mr. Louis Cerna who has been the team leader on this project, and Miss Alyssa Livingstone, who has been working very hard on this project as well. And they were here for our charrettes that were held at the two charrettes earlier this spring. And they have been involved in reviewing, revising, coordinating, guiding, and pushing this document to this moment with the most able assistance of my project manager, Candy Harper, Deputy Director of Planning and Zoning, who I'm very proud to say has done a great job on this. So I would like to just give you the opportunity, look at these documents, ask any questions you want. Mr. Cerna and Ms. Livingstone are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do they have any presentation they're going to do? 'Cause we can save that questions till after that, if they
We do not at this time, but they are good at what they do. They can answer any questions.
I believe that. I'm just trying to get it done in an orderly manner. Any questions? The floor is open.
Well, you know, on page 932, I have a question.
Is that subsection B? You misspelled.
Yeah, I didn't understand page 1.
Yeah, the introduction.
Are you looking for a motion on this now? Or,
Well, yes, sir. Basically, we wanted to be sure that if you had any questions, what we've done, let me go through this real quick and then we'll be done. Max in our office has done a tremendous job of putting together what it looks like. And like I said, and I don't want to cheat anybody on our staff because everybody's had something to do with it, as well as Alyssa and Luis. Everybody's had a big part in it. We took, just as a cover, we took City Hall and then we have a map, an aerial map of the city, kind of browned or grayed out there. And then you start with, there'll be a table of contents and credits and things like that. We're not done with that yet. But what we want you to see, each element starts off with a color and an icon, the title, and then, I don't want to call this an executive summary, but sort of a summary of what the element is about, and then a picture, okay? And as you go through this element, which in this case is number 1, future land use, it's always going to be green and it's always going to have this map up at the top. This is what I mean by keeping it simple and keeping it useful. And then there's the other thing we've done. Am I 3 minutes up?
You laugh. I was going to set the timer when you were talking earlier. I was that close. I said, I better keep my.
The way we set the document up this time around was to put the goals, objectives, and policies up front. Now, I mentioned data and analysis. We put that in the back because in the appendix, because that way we can amend the data and analysis portion without having to go through a full review. But if we want to change the goals, objectives, and policies, which is what the important part is, we have to come back. We have to present that to you. We have to present that to City Commission. That's proper. I don't want to bring to you, come back to you and say, well, we've had a population change of 500 people.
Yeah.
You know, that's the purpose of doing it that way. But what you'll see is each element with a title page and a color theme. Future land use, land, green, okay? Transportation, same idea with a summary.
It's kind of that smog gray.
Smog gray because roads are gray, right?
Transportation, all the smog.
Yes. And you go through it, and it's the same way. Housing, well, on a zoning map, housing is often a yellowish color, residential, and the photos and things may change. Those minor things may change. We don't know yet 100%, but you get a color, you get an icon with a map, or in this case, the houses, and as you go through the document, what you see, sanitary sewer.
I'll leave that alone.
We'll leave that one alone. Water is blue. But you know, we have a faucet here for the water, so you can literally see where you are at any given time.
That's very attractive.
And we think We think that our staff, and I include everyone on my staff in this.
The icon for solid waste.
It's not. It's definitely not an emoji.
Chocolate.
It looks like a cross section of a pipe. Okay. It's. Yeah, I'm just trying to get past that one.
Y'all done good.
Yeah.
So
That's when they go to
with
engineering school.
that, and we go through all of these, all the way back to intergovernmental coordination and capital improvements. Of course, capital improvements being projects, being money, being green. So, but we feel as a staff, as the director, I feel like my staff, and I include every single one of them in this, whether they work directly on it or we're filling in for someone who worked, they made a difference. And I also feel that Mr. Cerna and Ms. Livingstone did a fantastic job. And at the beginning of the project, there were some changes that had to be made, or that were made, that none of us could control. And I think we overcame that and did a great job. So thank you both very much for that. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, thank you for letting me ramble on. This is a milestone project for any planner when you get a new plan. I know people will glaze over and won't get it, but planners love to read this kind of stuff and work on it. So any
Believe it or not,
questions?
if I would have had it sooner, I would have read the whole thing. I
Yes,
always
sir,
do.
and I do believe that because I know
Believe
you.
it or not, I am semi-boring and semi-not.
But
But,
this is strictly dealing with water, though, we're dealing with right here.
Actually, no, sir. This is the whole plan. What I wanted to bring
Well, I
out
see
was
that,
that the water supply plan is invested or a part of the comprehensive plan.
Of course, yeah.
So this is dealing with the entire comp plan, and each one of these elements being a subject area, and each one of those subject areas branching out into different things that the city does. Doesn't cover every single thing the city does, but it covers a ton of things, particularly in the areas land use, public works.
Now, do you have a power electrical plan in there?
No, sir.
No.
I'm glad.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Over this, reading over it, a question still out. It says something about reduce excessive travel demands or whatever. Do we have to know the population or whatever?
Do we know the population?
And what is projected?
Oh, yes, sir. And that will be in the plan. I can tell you the population, the latest we got last year was right at 30,000, slightly over 30,000. And that's the number that comes from the University of Florida Bureau of Economic and Business Research, known as BEBR.
And how long ago was the last one done? Within how many years?
Well, the 2020, I think, and I can't remember exactly, Candy's looking for some info. I want to say the 2020 census was something around 27,000, 28,000. The one we got last year from BEBR, now there's two different organizations counting, so they can be slightly different, was just over 30,000. Since that 30,000 number came in, 2,300 houses were built in the villages. In the villages, you get 1.96, I believe, persons per household. So I am anticipating that when we get our next number from BEBR, it's going to be about 35,000, 36,000. So that's a pretty good jump from the last number. The last BEBR number didn't include the villages. This next one we anticipate will. If it doesn't, we'll be calling BEBR and talking to them to be sure.
And that's not including the ones that we didn't approved already.
That is strictly
people live here.
People that live here. That is correct. And that's a
Not
very
what's been
good
approved.
question because of the number of. One of the things that are tough about population estimates is that you have 900, give or take, people a day moving into Florida. Some of those go to the north, some to the south, some to the central, et cetera. And those numbers are very difficult. They're difficult to count. You have to do as like the census does April 1, I think, and I think BEBR uses April 1. And they count, they do everything from count electrical bills to building permits. They count all kinds of things. They use aerials. They do everything they can to try to count accurately. It's very difficult to get an accurate count. And in this environment, particularly in today's environment, when you have a high number of lots that are approved, which we do, that are approved but not built, there's a big difference between zoning and future land use and actual development. We can change the color of the map all day from one thing to a residential or whatever. And that allows for residential development to occur. But until that vertical development comes in with the houses, not horizontal, not the colors on the map, but when that vertical development comes in with the houses and the housing units, whether that's
And
single,
occupied.
yes, it has to be occupied for it to account. Plus, a 55 plus is going to run you about 2 people, give or take, per unit, but usually 2. Villages uses 1.96, which I think is actually very accurate. But in the rest of the city, you're looking at probably 3.2, 3.3 persons per unit or per household. So a 500-unit subdivision would probably give you about 1,500 people, give or take 1,600, 1,700, whatever the math is. I don't do fractions in my head. But so determining population is a tough one. I would say if the current trends can continue, that in 15 years the population here could double easily.
Yeah, where we are now is what Ocala was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There were 32, I think.
And respectfully, I'm being conservative.
Between 8 and 12.
If
We're at
the development continues, it will go higher. Problem is, right now, we're doing about 25 houses a month. The villages did a couple of hundred a month for a year and a half, and then boom, they got 32 houses. They're a different animal. They have a different system. But as a city, we're doing, give or take, 25 houses a month. So that's looking at between 75 and 100 people a month, which is about 1,200 people a year. Right now, that could change at any time. And if interest rates go down, as the rumors are, if it drops 2 or 3 times by the end of the year, then there could be some increase in housing construction.
That number you just said, did it include the part of the villages that are in the city of Leesburg?
The 30,000 number?
No, the permits per month. You said 20.
No, sir. The 25 houses a month, thank you for asking that. The 25 houses per month is inside the city of Leesburg, excluding the villages.
Okay.
The villages were running about 200 to 300 homes a month for a number of months, over a year and a half or so.
But that's not just the parts that's in the city of Leesburg.
That's just the part that was in the city of Leesburg.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. I've got the numbers to back it up in my office. Per month.
Plus whatever else they're doing outside the city of Leesburg?
No.
Well, most of what they're building is in the city of Leesburg now.
Well, right? All I'm talking about on the villages side is just what's in the city limits of Leesburg in the villages.
On the other side of
that was 200 on the other side of 470.
No, the other side of the turnpike.
That's outside the
Sumter
city.
County.
That's outside the city. We're not counting those.
Yeah, okay.
So we're doing 25, give or take, houses a month within the city, outside of the villages. In the villages, at their peak, they were doing 250 to 300 a month. Now it's back down to 4, 5, 6, 8 because they've pretty much finished that area. It's going to pick up again when they go to Secret Promise, which is again
so the
other side of the road.
2,700 houses.
Yes, sir.
That's still in Leesburg.
That's still in Leesburg.
Right.
And so the population, just based on the villages, is going to change significantly. If we throw in our population outside of the villages, it's going to change significantly. State law is greatly in favor of development, in my opinion. Okay, I want to be careful about opinions here, but I believe state law in Florida is greatly in favor of real estate development. Good or bad, that's just an opinion. I don't have an opinion on that. So we do see folks come in and want to build subdivisions on these lot sizes. We get those all the time. All I can do is recommend based on, my staff and I, all we can do is recommend based on what the comp plan says and what the zoning code says. Your recommendation moves forward to City Commission. They make the final decision.
Why don't we move forward, and if there's anything new that's need to be covered under that?
Good to go.
Are we going to be voting on this
for
Just a
approval?
recommendation.
You pass it and then you find out what's in it.
Well, that's my whole question is I have not a clue what's, other than general.
And it's a lot of the same, but a lot of the same, but we have updated the language and updated some of the goals, objectives, and policies, and you're welcome to ask me or Mr. Cerna and Ms. Livingstone in regard to that. But basically, as we said, we wanted to take it out of what it was using the data and analysis that we had 12 years ago and bring that data analysis up to the latest data available and then adjust those goals, objectives, and policies to make it work day to day for Leesburg, for a working plan, not a rainbows and unicorns plan. So, and the history of planning will show you a few rainbows and unicorns, so we don't want to do that. We want it to be a plan that works for the citizens.
What motion do we need to?
Well, first of all, let's find out if there's any more questions before we go into it.
Nope.
That was going to be my question. Can I make a motion?
Why don't you go ahead and you can second it since she started.
I'll second it. Oh.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on CPTA 24230, the City of Leesburg Comp Plan Update and Water Supply Facilities Work Plan. I move for approval.
Did you say the 22045 in there?
CPTA 24230.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Yes,
Sorry.
2:30. Oh,
Cool, okay, just making sure everything's correct.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No. Roll call.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Chairman Senate?
Yes.
Commissioner Capper? Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders?
Yes.
And Commissioner Patterson?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order?
One more thing, Mr. Chairman.
Too late, man. You got to track it.
Very informative meeting, though.
We have had some issues sending out packets. This was really upsetting because this month we had problems, and this was a big deal for us. And we wanted you to get this information, and I know that some of you did not because we had problems with our emails. If you do not receive your packets by Friday afternoon in the future, please feel free to call me or anyone on the staff. Our normal goal is Fridays, get the packet to you, the small packet to you, so you know what's coming.
The Friday before the Thursday.
The Friday before the Thursday meeting,
Right.
yes, sir. And we have had problems in the past. I remember Stuart, we had some problems on his computer. Mr. Sennett, our chairman, had some problems this month. That is not acceptable to staff. We're working on trying to figure out what the problem is.
I'm getting with HR about this stuff.
Okay. But if you don't receive it, please let me know, because our normal goal is Friday. Sometimes we have to go into Mondays, but we want it to be right for you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, we're adjourned.
There you go.
Have a good weekend.
Sir.